Self-Management Fund, Resilience, Recovery and Development. What have we learned? Hilda Campbell, CEO, COPE Scotland.
Thanks very much for providing this opportunity to come along and also to hear what others are doing. I think one of the core values of the Self-Management Fund has always been about sharing, so that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. And it may be that we have a tool that we've developed that someone thinks, well, I could make that better, and that's fine, because you're not starting from scratch. There's something there that can be developed further. And when I was invited along to do this, I wondered, well, what would I do today that would maybe offer people something? So I decided that we would share a couple of tools. So very briefly, our self-management funded project is really about sharing our learning. We are a service that recognises that life can be challenging and that sadly there can be pain. And what we try and do is, working with the voice of lived experiences, come up with different tools and techniques that can help us suffer less, so that we have more good days than bad days. And when there are bad days, there's things that we can do, which, while it might not be a cure and it might not take away all the pain, it maybe doesn't hurt as much. So that our aim really is to not grow an empire, but an idea. So we are very keen on sharing the tools and resources that we've evolved over the years, that at some point in the future, actually, COPE Scotland wouldn't be here anymore, because we've learned, we've shared, and others are now using those in a way that makes more sense to themselves and the people that they know and the communities that they serve. So the next couple of slides after this one are going to be a couple of exercises that we have developed. And I've purposefully put this up about balance, is because quite often our lives can feel totally out of balance. And we often say we want to get our life into balance, but it's like, what does that mean? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And because there's so much uncertainty in the world, sometimes it can be very difficult, especially when you're living with conditions where you're maybe not getting the appointments in time that you're looking for, you're waiting for test results and they're not coming through as quickly as you would like. You're living with a condition that you're not quite sure from day to day how things are going to be. And on top of that, there's a cost of living crisis, there's conflict going on in other parts of the world, and we're still living with the COVID-19 pandemic. And when we become overwhelmed by all these challenges, it can drain our energy to a point where we're exhausted before we actually do anything. And yet it's when we're tired and exhausted is when we really need to recharge our batteries the most. When we think we don't have any time is really when we need to recharge our batteries the most. And there's loads of examples of things that we can do to recharge our energy levels. These are just two examples I'm going to show now. So just before we go into the next slide, I would like to invite people to make themselves comfortable, go off camera if you prefer, close your eyes if you feel safe to do so for the next exercise, because the next exercise is about learning to hit the pause button. Because sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed, our minds are just going 10 to the dozen, and it becomes incredibly difficult to focus on what next. There is a myth of multitasking. We cannot do it all. We can do lots of things, one thing at a time, but we can't do loads of things at once. And sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed, it's good just to pause.
Sometimes we need to pause, to take a breath in the business of our lives and just be. Not be running to the beat of the demands around us, just finding a moment to centre ourselves so that we can find our own natural rhythm which supports our well-being. When it's safe to do so, and you have a few moments to call your own, and even when we find we're in demand to do so many things, it matters we find even a few moments just to be and not be doing. Please sit comfortably in a chair. If you like, close your eyes. Make sure you're comfortable. Let your feet settle on the ground and feel the energy from the earth recharging you. Even if you live in a flat or find you have a health condition which limits feelings in your feet, imagine the power of the energy of the earth being drawn up through your feet and helping your body feel recharged. Like a butterfly spreading its wings to catch the energy of the sun, experience the energy which surrounds you. This can help make you feel relaxed and centered. When we allow ourselves time to pause, just to be and not be doing, it is good for our self-care. Find your own natural rhythm of breathing. Go at a pace works for you, like the waves lapping on the shore of a sandy beach, or leaves dancing gently on a summer breeze. An eagle riding the thermals as it floats through the sky. Find a slow, natural rhythm which works for you. Whatever else needs to be done can wait. These few moments, there is nothing to do. Just be and not be doing. If you do find thoughts come to mind of what you should be doing, imagine them in a cloud and let them float on by. The ones we need to give attention to, we can, after we have taken this time for ourselves. But these few moments are ours to be and not be doing. We are made of the star stuff of the universe, part of a bigger picture. And like a stitch in a tapestry, we can't always see the pattern. So sometimes life doesn't make sense. But we are needed and are part of that amazing picture. We have so much potential, which is why we need to build moments into our day to pause and be and not be doing. As we need time to switch off and be part of that inspiring world which is all around us, and see that we are connected to something so much bigger than ourselves. Making time for self-care matters. Making time to be and not be doing matters. Finding our own natural rhythm matters. And yes, there are times when perhaps we find we move at a pace which leaves us feeling exhausted. This is why it matters we know how to pause. We make time to pause. So in the busyness of the day, we can take those few moments to be and not be doing. To rest and let the weight drop from our shoulders. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, perhaps stretch. Reflect on how you feel when you stop to pause and find your own natural rhythm. Practice this often so it becomes part of your daily routine. Then begin to start your day again, carrying the kindness in your heart to yourself, each other and the planet, remembering you are amazing.
Now that takes 5 minutes, and no matter how busy we are, it's worth finding that 5 minutes. That recording can be downloaded from our website. It will also be shared on this recording. And if people want to contact me directly, the last slide's got my email address. Now, we recognise that people experience the world through different senses. So the next video I'm going to show was co-designed with colleagues from the deaf community to look at what other ways can we relax. So the next video is less a relaxation exercise and more a demonstration of different ways to relax using all our senses. And these are just some ideas. There's many more. And I hope, even if you enjoy an auditory relaxation, that some of the examples we've given here will inspire you to think, actually, do you know, there's more ways to relax than I realise, because that's what's so good about when we share and we learn from each other and we learn from lived experience, because we can all perceive the world through different lenses, and being able to perceive through another's lens can add a richness to our own lives too. So Dora, if you could play this video, please, thank you.
How our body perceives us in relation to gravity, movement and balance. Think about swinging gently in a hammock and how that motion for some could be very relaxing. Or having a zero gravity garden recliner chair, which when we sit in and recline you feel so much more relaxed. Or going swimming and being held by the water as you float. Just don't fall asleep when you're in the pool. There is also a sense around what our body is doing and how we can plan movements. For example, clap our hands together when our eyes are closed. But body awareness is another way to relax. For some, this could be dancing, stretching, doing yoga, also katsugan, which is a natural, spontaneous movement. We may wonder, how does touch help us relax? Think of children who have a comfort blanket or a favourite teddy they cannot go to sleep without. Think when we are cold and we put on a nice warm jumper or wrap up in a snuggly soft blanket. These are examples of how touch can help us relax. Learning how to give yourself a hand massage is a wonderful way to relax. Even something as simple as taking time to put on a scented hand cream can help us. Walking barefoot on a beach and feeling the warm sand between our toes uses our sense of touch to relax. Or feeling the rain on our face, or a gentle breeze blowing across our skin on a warm day. Now you may be thinking, taste? Taste to relax? What is she talking about? Well, have you heard the term comfort food? Comfort food is said to provide consolation of a feeling of well-being. Now we need to watch, as a lot of comfort food can be high in sugar or carbohydrates, and too much of anything isn't good for us. Beans on toast if you have happy memories of childhood with this, or chicken soup, or that well-known brand of tomato soup. As well as comfort food, mindful eating can be a way to use taste to relax. Taking a mindful approach to eating not only can help us lose weight if this is something we need to consider, it can also improve well-being. Sometimes we just want some peace and quiet, to be able to drift away and relax. On our site, we have a 3-minute relaxer video, which you can watch or listen to, or watch and listen, whatever works for you. So settle into a place which you find comfortable. Make sure you're not operating machinery. This is time for you to relax and unwind. Be in the moment. If any thoughts pop into your head which cause you distress, imagine them being in a cloud and floating away. For the next few minutes, there is nothing for you to do but relax. We have a dream of a world where everyone has a positive state of well-being and cares about themselves, each other, and the planet.
The other little tip I had just put on there was tips in creating a sensory garden. So that's a little booklet that's on our site. We are working with a local community growing initiative and are sponsoring a scented sanctuary, which is a scented place that you can sit out and blather or just watch the world go by. And there was so much interest in the idea of the sensory garden that we've put together a little booklet that gives you some ideas how you can do that indoors and out. Thanks. Next slide. So I was Hilda Campbell, I still am, last time I looked, from Cope Scotland. Hilda@cope-scotland.org is my email if you want to follow up on anything from today. That's our website. And if you follow us on @Cope Scotland, I regularly share when there's new posts that's on the site. And all those little postcards that have been shown through this as well are also on the site to download. So thank you very much for your attention. And I hope there was something there that you find helpful for yourself and to share with people you know.